Have you ever shaved your balls? Have you guys ever shaved your balls?
I shaved my balls once.
I thought you were like doo-wop.
That's handsome. It's mbop. I need to make a conscious effort to
What's
sit
that type of singing
in the middle.
called where it's like, well, I love you.
Like soul. Well, while you're looking that up, Thane, why don't you start us? You can introduce everyone to.
Welcome to the Radkatz podcast. Ooh. I can't sing. Sorry.
That's beautiful.
There's Sky. There's Cole. There's me.
It's beautiful.
Hello.
Welcome everybody to episode 153, according to our lovely monitor over here. And I don't think I'm wrong because I double checked twice. But if it's not 153, oops.
I'm just curious because I swear I made 153 the thumbnail. I'm going to look it up because I'm curious.
Hopefully you didn't goof. It said 152. And also said we had no views on it. Thanks for listening to the show, no one.
You just really know how to make yourself feel bad, don't you?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, 152. I was right. I mean, I was wrong. Shoot.
So before we really get into the show, because I got a couple topics that I wanted to talk about, because I went down some rabbit holes this week. I also want to talk about our house
Alice?
again. Yeah, Alice.
In Wonderland?
In Wonderland. She's wondering, and she's still landing.
Were you... Wait. How do you land? What does that mean? Explain that first.
Well, if you go down a rabbit hole and then you land.
You landing?
So maybe you find the bottom of the rabbit hole. So she landed.
She landed.
I'm still convinced that she's just on drugs for the whole show.
Well, I mean, the caterpillar sure is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's doo-wop. That's what it's called. Doo-wop.
Literally.
Doo-wop. Doo-wop.
That's literally what you said at one point, Sky.
What?
Doo-wop.
Did I?
Is it not? I swear you said doo-wop.
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just sang doo-wop and didn't say it as in like that's a type of music.
I thought you were like doo-wop.
That's handsome. It's mbop. Anyway,
I swear that's the Jackson 5. I don't know why.
They probably have something similar, but so going back to our house saga last week. I mean, we've already talked about just how much of a pain it is to get things done in this house. Not on our end, but like it's old.
To
things
live
break.
here?
Yeah, to live here. Like we talked about our windows saga. We've talked about our yard. I think we've briefly mentioned our shower head, which did get fixed, but is really cheap.
I do want to say how absolutely just dumb that is, by the way.
Shower head?
This is just so stupid. We put in that thing literally 4 or 5 months ago. It took them 4 or 5 months to decide to actually fix it, and they fixed it literally like in 10 minutes. I was here the entire time. The guy walked in, looked at it, said, okay, I need this, this, and this. He walks back to his vehicle, comes back, and it's done. All within 10 minutes. They freaking were just what's it called when you're like leading us on?
Breadcrumbing?
Breadcrumbing or...
They're just stringing us along.
Stringing us along for that's what I was looking for. It's perfect, by the way. Thank you.
You're
They're
welcome.
stringing us along for 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
For a 10-minute fix. That pissed me so much off. Holy crap.
Well, and what's interesting, because we had the plumber, he came and fixed something prior. Oh, our water heater, one of the pipes on the top of the water heater like broke and was leaking all over the water heater and all over the floor in our water heater room. So when he came over, I also showed him the shower and I said, hey, our shower really sucks. What would you recommend? And he looked at it and he said, well, this is a really old shower head. What I would do is I would take out the tile and I would redo the shower and put in because we have a shower head that has the pipe that hooks onto
the faucet,
and then it just runs up and it just hangs on the wall. So it's not like coming out of the wall like a traditional or a more modern shower head is. And he said, yeah, I would completely redo this because it's really freaking old. He also said that our water heater or something back there has the potential to go out because it's really freaking old. I'm like, great. I mean, I think it's fine that we live in an old house. That's just what happens. If you live in an old house, things break a lot faster, I guess. You're doing more maintenance as opposed to something more modern, I guess. But
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the shower head was really dumb, but the plumber I talked to probably is not the same guy as you. Was it an old dude that was here?
I don't even remember what he looked like. I don't think he was that old though.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was a plumbing people. It might have been something else. It had to have been plumbing. That is the only thing that makes sense. I don't know who it was. I don't really remember. I just remember being pissed because it took him 10 minutes to do the job, and they strung us along for 5 months. I had to keep saying that because it's perfect what I was going for.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Sky.
No,
Let me
you're
just,
welcome.
Smirk you off a little bit more.
Okay, thanks. But so last week, I can't remember what day it was, but I came downstairs to do my laundry, and the carpet, literally like 2.5 feet behind the camera, was wet, and I'm like, oh no. I walked into the laundry room, and there wasn't really any water in the washing room, so I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out where the water's coming from. So I walked back to where our washing machine dumps the water into the drain, and it just the whole room was just filled with water, and I'm like, oh, great. So I went up and got Thane, and Thane came down, and we started digging at the drains. We literally got like forks and knives. We popped the drains off, and we just started shoving down there to see if we can. And I got deep down past to where the bottom is, and I'm like, well, we're going to need a freaking snake because this is clogged. It's stunk.
I'm honestly surprised you guys even bothered.
I just didn't know if there
I
was
wouldn't
like...
have bothered. I would just put in a report and been like, yeah, it's clogged. Get someone out here.
Yeah, when you guys told me you guys were like digging out the drains, I was just like, I'm surprised you guys are even doing anything.
The reason we tried is because I just didn't know if there was a rock or if there was paper. For some reason, we have paper back there. And the whole thing is just jank. It's old and janky because our washing machine doesn't even dump directly into the drain. It dumps down into like this little, let's call it a little ravine. And this little...
because it's just been washed away so much with water.
Yeah. And
like
it
the
just...
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it leaks in this ravine that trickles to our 2 drains that we have. One, mind you, is like up higher and is really dumb. That one, they were both clogged anyway. It mostly goes to the main drain. I hate it. I hate the way it's laid out. And anyway, it's just a nightmare. So our carpets were wet. We did clean them with Cole's carpet cleaner, but they still freaking stink. And we probably need to put a fan on them. I mean, they are drying out. I took a towel yesterday, or no, it was this morning, and I tried to suck up as much water as I could. And I probably need to do it again, but it's just like one thing after another in this freaking house as of late.
Yeah.
Anything you want to complain about this house thing? Do you like how do you hate how short the ceilings are?
I don't like. There's this thing over there that's not finished, and it kind of bothers me.
The door.
Yeah, the door.
The doorway. It's been unfinished the entire time I've been here.
Yeah. You think they were gonna come finish it, but they didn't.
It's just a couple pieces of trim.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 pieces, like the inside pieces of trim, and then the trim around the edge.
But why would they if they don't have to spend money? People don't like spending money on stuff that's not immediately influencing them.
Yeah, or things that, like, it's not that big of a deal. This does not hinder our living ability at all. Like, what effect does that have on our lives other than we probably bump the sides and spill some sheetrock on the carpet every once in a while?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it comes down to for sure, is just people don't want to spend money on not themselves. On other people. There we go. That's the right words. I know English.
Yeah. Which... to be fair, and I don't know how it works since they go through a rental company, but like we've just plumbing alone, I'm sure we've charged them several $100s this last month. By the way, hopefully we don't have to pay that. Like that would be asinine if they made us pay for any of that, because we have no control over if our drains get plugged or
it's not like we did something wrong. We were literally just existing at that point, and it just happens because it's old.
Yeah. Well, and I think the first and only time we've ever had to pay for a repair is when Thane broke that can opener and the piece shot directly into the disposal, which, by the way, the plumber, same old guy that fixed our shower, came in 2.5 minutes, took the disposal off, pulled the piece out, stuck it on the counter, said, hey, we got it, and he left. $100.
Wait, I thought it was only 50.
No, it was like $100 for us.
Wow. I thought it was only 50. I don't remember spending that much money.
Yeah, I think it was like $90 or $100.
Holy crap!
I'd have to go look again, but it was a chunker for 2.5 minutes worth of work.
We could have just done that.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
my whole thing is like, if we try to repair something and it
F's it up
breaks,
more,
then we're really effed up. We're really screwed at that point.
I mean, at that point, the $100, maybe we should have tried it. Because like, if we effed it up, like,
How much is a new disposal?
I don't know, but like, how do you f up a disposal just by taking it off? You know?
Yeah, you can't.
I think we should have just done it.
We probably should have, but I didn't know they were going to charge us $100 for pulling out a little tiny piece of.
Speaking
gear.
of DIY projects, we need to unplug the tub.
Oh yeah, the freaking
Yeah.
sink upstairs. I meant to buy
Some Drano.
some Drano
Wait,
today, but I didn't.
The sink or the tub?
The sink.
Sink.
Oh,
You know how
The
bad
sink,
the sink
we need
is
to-
upstairs? Yeah, it's bad.
We actually need to like remove the thing from before we put the Drano in the plug, because last time we did it, it didn't get all that gunk out because the plug was mostly like.
I'm sure there's tons of hair on it too.
Yeah.
But like,
You're welcome.
I mean, I shave my beard.
You're
in
welcome.
it. I'm sure you guys shave your beards in it.
Yeah, I should just take the garbage can and
I shave a lot more in that though.
In the sink.
the garbage can.
I'm really confused.
I was just
He
trying
use-
to be silly.
He uses the garbage can.
Well, when I cut my hair, I broom it up, sweep it up.
Okay, what about when you shave with your
Oh yeah,
neck?
right into the sink. Right
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
sink.
Right
yeah,
into
yeah,
the
yeah,
sink.
yeah,
I think every normal dude does.
Those are-
yeah, yeah,
like-
but I shave like literally every 3 days essentially.
My hair is like small and it can go easily in the drain, but I guess a lot can build up.
My hair is relatively large, and I shave every 3 days.
And also, I mean, I guess not to take away from what you're saying, Thane, because my hair's really short too. But like when you have shaving cream in there, it kind
I
of
don't
sticks
use
together.
shaving
It's all
cream.
gross. You don't use shaving cream?
No, I don't.
Oh, I guess you have an electric razor. I was gonna say you just freaking chad your way through that,
No. it's-
skin burn and all.
Yeah, I'm a real man.
So real quick on the topic of shaving, I hate shaving. By the way, it's one of my it's one of the cardinal sins of human life that I have to deal with, and it's not even.
I
that
don't
bad.
hate it. I just think it's kind of
It's an inconvenience.
inconvenient.
But my goodness, put it
Same
on.
with brushing my teeth.
I think
every
Cole's
night.
with you on that one.
Yeah.
I hate brushing teeth. Yeah,
I actually do enjoy brushing my teeth.
I enjoy shaving. I think it's kind of relaxing. It's fun. You got to make it fun. I
The-
mean, you got to have a good razor. You got to have a good
The
shaving
worst
cream.
part about shaving is getting hair everywhere and having to clean it off, especially if you get on your neck. You gotta kind of like brush. Like
and I don't have that problem the way I
Yeah.
shave, at least.
See, I always shave and then immediately jump in the shower.
Whoa, you shave before your shower?
I shave before the shower,
I used
which
to
a
shave
lot of
after
a lot of
always
peop-
shave after.
a lot of people say that I'm weird for doing it that way, but like it's an easy cleanup. I just for me the amount of time, like I know people say, "Oh, well you got to get the aftershave on there real quick or you're going to be in pain."
Wait.
I've never experienced any of that.
That aftershave things, that's kind of a fluke. But like, what do you mean easy cleanup? It's not hard to clean up your shave.
No.
It's literally you wipe yourself with a towel and you're done.
I use water. I like to wash the residue of the shaving cream off.
Yeah, you just done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then I just jump in the shower to do that.
I know. I'm just saying it's like no easier than just getting water. It's about the same.
Sure, yeah.
So saying it's an easy cleanup, I think that's a stretch, guy. That's a stretch.
Okay, well, it's convenient for me. Anyway,
Do you get many ingrown hairs on your
Mm-mm.
neck?
never.
So I think you're just lucky then.
Yeah.
Because I do every like preventative maintenance to prevent ingrown hairs, and I still get them all the time. I always shave with the grain, because if you shave against the grain, you're almost certainly gonna get some ingrown hairs. I use a very sharp blade when I shave. I use aftershave. I do this thing where I try to make the pores larger by heating up my neck with water in the shower beforehand. Like I basically turn on even like lava onto my neck essentially.
What?
It feels okay. It feels incredible. Don't get me wrong. I effing love it. But it's supposed to open up your pores better so you don't get as many ingrown hairs after you shave. Yeah, I literally do everything under the sun to prevent ingrown hairs on my neck after shaving, and I still get it. Like you can probably see some right here, Sky. The little
Yeah,
red.
a little bit, little reds.
I think I shaved yesterday.
Yeah, it never happens to me. Granted, I don't shave as often as you. Well, wait, you said you shave
Like every 3 days.
Oh, you might actually shave I might actually shave more. I shave every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
You got like specific days.
Yeah, just because it's like for work, and it's not like it grows that much. But when my hair gets too long, then it tugs with my razor, and I hate it.
It's 'cause it sounds like you've got a dull razor if it's tugging.
I mean,
Yeah.
What happens is like I'll put on a new blade, and then for like the first 2 or 3 weeks it's great, but then afterwards
That
it
means
starts to
it's
tug.
dull. That's how that works. Oh my gosh, you just described it. For the first 2 or 3 weeks it's sharp, but after it gets dull it starts tugging on my hair. That's literally what you said.
And that's how I know that I need to throw it away.
Oh my goodness. I replace my blade like every 3 shaves.
Really?
You
Yeah.
should probably look at when to replace them on the box.
My blades are far cheaper than yours though.
I
They're
buy
like
the
20 cents a blade for me.
I've
if
I've
that.
found, and you use the singles, right?
Is single blade. Well, I guess they're double blade technically. The
front and
safety
back.
razor, yeah.
See, the one I get, and I've fallen in love with this. The 2 razors I've found, granted I haven't used a lot of razors, but the one right now that I really like is called the Schick Hydro 5, I think. Schick Hydro Fusion 5 or something. Phenomenal. I love it. It feels so good after I shave. But yeah, when it's dull, it's not fun. That's any razor though, I'm sure.
I use a Merkur 34C handle with some Astra blades, Astra Premium something blades. I thought about switching different blades, but Astra does a really good job, and most people say they're probably some of the best. They're not super like gonna cut you up either if you get. I mean, obviously they'll cut you up if you do it wrong, but they're not like the worst for your skin. It's more for like sensitive skin, which is why I pick them.
Do you have sensitive skin?
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I'm always like drying up. Like there's always a million bumps on my arm and stuff. You'll just see me scratching at them. I got some terrible skin. And then I use Proactive something. I think that's what it's called. Shaving cream.
Does it have menthol in it?
Sure does. You better freaking believe it's got menthol. It's not really shaving cream. It's like a shaving soap because you gotta apply it with the brush. I think it's called Proaso.
So Thane, how does your skin not like itch or feel really dry when you shave? Because I like to exfoliate my skin. I will go on periods of my life where I've gone and just done electric razors, but like I just feel really dry. And then
It's probably because I've never really done traditional shaving. I know that sounds weird, but like I just got an electric razor, and that's really all I've done my whole life because it's so easy. It's easier than doing like the regular shave, which I don't know. Maybe one day I'll like just for the heck of it, just try regular shaving. I probably won't
Wait,
like
you've
it.
never done it once?
No,
You might cut yourself the first
Yeah.
You will
time.
cut yourself.
I
Yeah.
will. Yeah, that's why I'm probably okay with electric razor because I don't ever cut myself.
It doesn't hurt that bad to cut yourself with the razor because it's incredibly sharp blade,
Yeah.
so you don't really feel it. But it bleeds like a mofo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
freaking sucks. Especially like have you cut yourself, Cole, like at the tip right here, tip of the nose?
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
usually where I cut myself, is up here.
Yeah, back in the day when I would shave my mustache all the time, I would cut myself there. But I also used blades like you. I didn't use the single blade back in high school anyway.
Yeah.
Now, shaving with electric razor. Oh god, shaving with an electric razor.
You okay,
razor.
buddy?
You okay, buddy?
Thing
Buddy?
with the
there?
10 strokes.
Shaving
Golf.
with an electric razor
Golf. Triple bogey.
does not get me the cleanest shave, but that's all right because I don't have much facial hair to begin with.
So I talked just a second ago about how I get a bunch of like razor burn from shaving still. I've tried electric razors in my life, and it's like times 50. It is the worst shave I've ever had in my life, and I think I've done it twice just to try it out. I've done it once with shaving cream and once without.
I think my skin's just gotten used to it.
Maybe, but like both times, it was literally every single hair on my neck turned into an ingrown hair. It was the nightmare.
Gosh.
Not every single one.
But yeah,
it was probably
way more.
I want to say it was at least 45% of the hair on my neck turned into an ingrown hair because of an electric razor. It was an absolute nightmare. So I will never, ever use those ever again.
You know, I had friends in high school. They didn't necessarily get razor burn from using an electric razor, but their face would break out with acne whenever they used electric razors.
That's essentially the same thing. When one of your beard hairs or facial hairs starts going ingrown, they'll make a pimple essentially and have like a
Okay.
little whitehead on them.
Okay. So then maybe that's what it was. It wasn't acne. It was just ingrown hairs.
I'm almost positive that's what it was, because like your skin gets irritated, and typically if your pores are irritated, it makes pus, and that's why pimples exist. I mean, they're still pimples.
True.
They're
just a different
from
type
ingrown hair. Yeah.
hair as opposed to dirt and garbage.
You might
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, for things like that, you might have to like rub something like I'm pretty sure there's some kind of solution you can rub on.
You can use aftershave. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that kind of helps.
See, and I have to. I mean, I'm sure most people that shave with the traditional razor
I've
use
also never
aftershave.
used aftershave.
I guess I didn't say what aftershave I use. I use Afta. That's literally what it's called. It's like a little silver bottle. I pick it up at Walmart. That's got menthol in it as well. I happen love menthol. Menthol's the best thing ever made.
Here, have some menthol cigarettes.
Yum.
I bet, honestly, if I was a smoker, I guarantee you that's what I'd be using.
Isn't that
Guarantee.
Isn't that the Reds, the Marlboro Reds?
Oh, I have no idea. I just know menthol's like a
The Reds
cooling
are the
sensation.
the heaviest ones apparently. Like, I was watching a video where it's like a guy with the military. He's like, "Yeah, I'd smoke Marlboro Reds because I wanted to die quicker."
Nice. Nice.
Well, speaking of dying, Pokemon's not dead.
Hmm.
And I've got a Pokeball. It's a love ball that I bought, and we're going to open it up on camera today together. There's 3 packs that come in this lovely love ball. See what I did there?
Lovely love ball.
Lovely love ball. And it'll be fun. There's 1 Pokemon coin in there. It might be Eevee. It might be something else. But let's jump into this.
It's going to take a while to open that. I
Oh.
guarantee it.
I was gonna mention something else, but I couldn't remember. Like it was during the shaving topic.
You ever shave your toes?
No,
Have you ever shaved your balls? Have you guys ever shaved your balls?
I shaved my balls once.
Wait,
or
did
I
you
shaved
shave your balls or just the whole area?
the
region?
the bush area, just the bush.
So
I
the
didn't shave
top-
the balls.
the
Yeah,
top?
it felt weird. I felt naked down there. I was like, oh,
I've literally gone like baby smooth down there on the butt and the front, all of it. And it was an absolute nightmare when it started regrowing.
Yeah, it was.
'Cause
Yeah.
like I said, I
Itchy
get
as
ingrown
crap.
hairs already. So it was a nightmare down there, and not to mention it was itchy.
There's my thumbnail pic.
I could tell what you were doing. I was just like, this is dumb.
What would you rather have?
I don't. It doesn't matter. It's just
Candid?
funny.
A candid one?
That's
and
not
just
how you
imagine
open
porn
it.
stars. They have to shave there
There you
all
go.
the time, especially if they want them clean.
We got an Eevee coin.
Yay! That might literally be the only thing that's in there.
This thing's. Does
Does it smell?
stinks.
Really?
Smell that top.
It smells like cards. Want to smell thing? Have a smell. I hate
Yep,
these.
smells like plastic to me.
I literally hate these things specifically because of how they shove the cards into them,
I
and
threw.
it like smashes up the corners.
We
You guys
got
haven't seen it. I
Evolving
threw.
Skies, Chilling Rain, and Fusion Strike.
I-
Much trash sets.
You know those 5-minute reviews we did for
Except
the
for
Shorts
Bobbing
channel?
Says.
I threw like this at Sky like
Yeah,
10 times.
it was great watching
Yeah.
it.
Just taking it in the back. Okay, Cole, you're the Pokemon guy. Which one do you want to open?
Do I get a pick?
Sure,
I
yeah.
want Evolving
Can
Skies.
I open one too?
Okay, Thane,
Evolving Skies is the best set.
do you
Of the
want
3.
bird or dog?
I'll take the dog.
Here you go.
And
Sorry, Thane, you got the worst
the
set.
ball's going to live on our shelf now.
Who is he again?
Boltund.
Boltund. All right. How do you
Who did
open
I
it again?
get?
How do you
Did I get
open it?
Articuno?
Is he?
Like,
Yeah, that's Galarian Articuno.
He kind of looks like a badass.
wait, they got Galarian forms
got, like,
for
a
legendaries
mask.
now?
Yeah. All the 3 birds got Galarian forms.
This is age 6 and up.
I am and
How
up.
do you,
We
what's the
qualify.
special way to open it?
You just open it like a candy bar, like a Hershey's bar.
Oh.
You take the back flap, pry it open, and then put your thumb on there, and boop. Did you guys know the pack trick?
Where you do the 3.
Yep, the 3.
I gotta say, okay, this brings up, and Cole, you probably remember this. When you first moved in, I remember I bought a tin of Pokemon cards, and I'm like, Cole, every week I'm gonna buy a new I'm just
Look
gonna
at
buy
this
You're
Pokemon
gonna buy a
Live.
a
set.
pack. I was gonna buy a pack
Pokemon
of
Live.
Pokemon cards. I never did that. I'm kind of glad I never
Is
did.
it the?
You do 4 from the back, and then the 4th one should be the energy.
Is that counting this or no?
No, not counting
So
that.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then like this.
And then like that.
Choose.
And
3,
theoretically,
4.
the
Energy.
it should be an energy. Yeah,
Should we give out these codes?
And then you flip it.
I like them.
Oh,
No,
you
I'm just
want 'em?
kidding. I don't really care. You can give them
and
out.
you flip this one.
No, you don't flip them.
Okay.
That's the good one, the very one in the back. So the top one should be
Okay.
the energy,
Okay.
and then you can kind of just go through what you got.
Okay, we got Ellis's Sparkle.
Are you going first, Thane?
Oh,
Go ahead. You can go.
Ellis's Sparkle.
Alessa is like,
Fine
hot.
woman.
that's what I'm trying to say.
She's cute.
All right.
She's a good gym leader.
Next we got Dreadnought.
Dreadnought.
Oh, nah, bruh.
Then we got Sligoo.
Sligoo.
Then we got Rookidee.
Rookidee's
Rookidee's nuts.
Dang it.
We're all from the same
Everybody.
Then we got Darumaka.
I like Darumaka. Is it Galarian Darumaka? Is it snowy? Yeah,
it's,
Galarian Darumaka.
Oh, he's usually red.
Because he's fire type normally. That's ice
Then we
type.
got Sizzlepede.
Sizzlipede. I like that one.
Then we got
Like a
Stuffle.
duffel this in your mouth.
Stuffle this dog in your mouth. We got Sandygast. What's the horrifying fact about this one? I can't remember.
Probably kills kids or something. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Let's be honest. They all just kill kids.
They got Galarian Cursola. Cursola?
Cursula?
Cursola?
Because it's like Corsola, but it's a
Huh?
curse.
Oh. They got
Garbage.
Vital. Legendary.
Eveltal? Yeah, you got
Yveltal.
garbage.
Oh.
Sorry, Thane.
All right. Cool.
Okay. I got yellow energy.
Lightning.
I got spiral energy. Peony. Larion. Larion. Diglett. Let's go.
A Alolan Diglett? Or just Diglett?
No.
Oh, just normal.
Normal Diglett.
Just normal.
Larvesta.
I like Larvesta's evolution.
Yeah, here's the code.
Inkay?
If you want to zoom in on that. And
Okay, Inkay.
I don't know if you can
I
see
doubt
that.
they can see that.
Rockruff.
Put them in the description if you want.
Ghastly.
It's
We
just
won't.
extra work.
Caitlyn.
Caitlin's cute.
And Seviper.
Nice. You got garbage as well.
Let's go.
I got the Boost Shake. Floette. Some rubber gloves. A cutie fly. Time pull. An Eevee. A Woobat. A Seedot. Hoppip. And a Wishy-Washy. Literally every single one of these is the first stage evolution. I'm almost positive. Yeah, every single one of my... Oh, no, Floette. It balls from Flabebe. By the way, by the hot tip, I knew every single one of us had trash before we even looked at them. If you look at these code cards, see the back is green?
Yeah.
You want them... Well, things is a little bit different because it's the newer one. His is different borders. His is a white border or a black border on the back. That's how you can tell. So it's either for ours, because of the, a little bit of the older ones, there's either the green one or the white one. The green one is thinner than the green one is thicker than the white one. Because if you got a white one, it means you got a foil card, and they make the thinner cards in there so that they don't like you can't weigh the packs anymore. And so it's like a win because no one can weigh packs, but it's also a loss because if you open up your pack and you instantly see that it's green, you're just like, well, this is a waste of $4, and you just throw it right into the garbage can without even looking at what you got. Pokemon sucks.
But you love it.
Yeah, Pokemon sucks opening packs. Like, there's literally only a couple sets I would ever recommend opening. There's what's it called? The celebration, like the 25th anniversary pack. That one was a good pack to open. You only get 5 cards per pack, but you're guaranteed at least one good thing.
So
And like all of them are hollow in there too. It's fun.
What do you get more enjoyment out of? Opening Pokemon packs or Apex packs? Or
Probably Pokemon.
Okay.
Because it's like a physical thing. It's something I can hold.
Yeah, I can see the appeal behind it. It's been said a million times before. It's just gambling for children.
Hooray, children's casino.
But the best part is I don't even think kids know what they want. Everything's a win when they open up Pokemon cards.
Yeah, and that's what's good about being a kid is you don't really care what you get. It's just fun that they're Pokemon cards. It doesn't matter at all. But when you actually know, it's just depressing. It's just a bunch of depression inside of foil packaging. Package depression.
Should just collected CS:GO knives.
You'd probably make more money.
Yeah.
Didn't they sell they sold some CS:GO knife for a lot of money or something? There's like a rare one.
I don't know.
You have to sell accounts with stuff like that, correct?
No, not on Steam. Steam's got this market thing where they can sell digital items. It's honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a lot like NFTs. But
you can actually
usable
use
in
it's
game.
cosmetics in
But
game.
it's like a cosmetic in a game.
So is that only with games? Wait, no. CS:GO's Riot, isn't it?
No, that's Steam.
That's
Steam.
Valve.
Valve made it?
that game.
So does Valve only do that with their own
No, like
IPs?
PUBG does it. You can do it with PUBG
There's also
stuff.
remember all those CS:GO gambling sites that were caused a big ruckus?
Yeah.
They literally took the data from that game because it's open. You could gamble it away.
What you said made 0 sense.
No, you know what I'm saying.
You just gotta retry it.
Try again.
The way you described it made
okay.
0
So you take
CS:GO's data.
Yes, it's literally data you can take from out of the game, and you can put it in this website.
Like the metadata.
Yeah, like the metadata.
CS:GO's metadata.
So it's like modding it.
Yeah, something.
No, you're not modding it.
No,
I'll explain. You take CS:GO's metadata and they put it onto a website so they could be able to do the essentially the auctions for the stuff.
Oh.
It's
highly illegal.
Highly illegal, yeah. I knew what you were talking about, Thane. I just knew that you
It's-
described it very poorly that nobody understood what you were saying.
It's easier to show you than explain it. It's like they take CS:GO items and gamble it.
It's like this is not a good example because you guys don't play multiplayer online games like MOBAs. But essentially MOBAs
I've
will
played a few.
Okay, that
Not
doesn't mean
consistently.
anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean if you've played it. It's like if you're into the competitive scene. The competitive, like when people are into these like MOBA competitive scenes, and I'm assuming CS:GO as well, which is why this is a thing. The metadata from the games is essentially open source. And so outside sources can take that metadata and put it on their website in a nice, easy way for anybody to see it so they can tell how they are doing, how they performed in their previous matches, as well as their ELO, or essentially their hidden rank, if you will. Just put in simple terms. That's not really what it is, but that's in layman's terms, essentially. And that's essentially what they were doing with the CS:GO. They were taking that metadata, but in this case it was for the cosmetics, and they were able to use that metadata for the cosmetics to make these online auctions to auction off these items. But I think the reason I don't know enough about it to really be talking about it, but I feel like the reason why it was illegal was because you can do this on Steam, but Steam takes a cut. And I feel like that's why these online things were existing.
So I'm just assuming that the buyer pays that fee though.
No. Steam just takes the cut.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to sell this to you for $100.
Oh, they just take
And then Steam's the middleman.
they just take the cut from this
they
purchase.
take $10, I get 90 or something like that.
Also, the worst, since it's gambling, the worst part is that you get this sick knife, and then you can like throw it in there, gamble it, and you like pretty much spin a wheel. Some of them you like spin a wheel, and then if you get garbage, you lose that skin, like, or you just like
So you gamble a
Or you
good
get s-
item in hopes of getting a better one?
yeah, and sometimes you'll get trash.
Not worth.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's like, it's the dopamine rush where it's like, oh, I got a good one this time. Let's keep going. Come on, let's double down. Oh, shoot. Like, it's the dopamine rush. some
What's
people get.
interesting, though, like I was saying earlier, that it really is just NFTs without, like, the cryptocurrency involved.
Are we gonna have the NFT gambling sites where you put your NFT you legitimately bought, then you spin a wheel? For
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised that already exists somewhere. But like an NFT, I mean, it's not the same because these items are
usable,
but like they're more so backed by not a real currency because crypto is real technically, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it's purchasable by your everyday money. And I don't know, they have like a real world money value rather than this NFT has a cryptocurrency money value. It's like this gun skin that I have is worth $50 American, you know.
This crypto's worth 3.5 Bitcoin.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually, it'd probably be more now. Bitcoin's dropped.
It would be like
50 Bitcoin.
no, because that's still a lot. It'd probably be like
I think Bitcoin's like 10,000 right now.
0.77 of a Bitcoin.
Depends on what the NFT is.
I guess if it's a gun skin.
Because our homeboy... Oh, are you talking about the NFTs or the guns?
We're talking about NFTs, but I was using gun skins as the
Okay,
idea. So when you
yeah.
said like 5 Bitcoins is like, I mean,
I was
that's a lot.
talking
That's a
about like
lot.
NFTs at that point.
I was still just applying it to gun skins for some
Yeah.
reason.
Speaking of NFTs and video games, how about we jump over to another acronym, DRM?
Direct rights management.
Yeah.
That was a interesting segue.
Thanks. It was... Side note, I saw 2 cops driving Segways 2 nights.
Are they holding hands?
They're just riding.
Oh,
they were in the middle of the
dang.
road driving Segways together.
I wish they were holding
Anyway,
hands.
yeah. So I've been doing research for a video that I'm not going to spoil here because it'll probably be several months before this even comes out.
Simpsons, the movie.
Yes.
Spoiled.
But I went down this rabbit hole of DRM because most people it just depends on how involved gamers are with video games. I feel like most consumers are like, I want game, let me play, and they do it, right? But when it comes to digital games specifically, well, not even just digital games. There's a huge rabbit hole. Well, hopefully we'll break it down enough, but essentially what DRM is it's your license to play a game. So when you buy a digital video game, you don't actually own it. You're just purchasing a license to use said video game.
To be fair, that's basically the same with a physical game. You don't necessarily own it.
True.
You don't own a license to play it.
True. But if the website ever shut down, you're
still
all right,
DRM's
'cause you
still
own it.
different, but like
no, yeah,
it's a similar concept.
This is the rabbit hole I want to go down though, because DRM. When I was doing research for the video, the game I'm talking about specifically, how to spoil it. When Diablo 3 came out in 2012, they had a huge backlash. Blizzard did because they had online DRM, which is the same thing as what Xbox had when they launched the Xbox One. Is you always had to be connected online to prove that you owned said game, right? So Blizzard, I'm not sure how new Blizzard.net was at that point, the launcher anyway. I'm assuming it was relatively new. I don't know if Diablo 3 was the first game on there or not.
That was one of the big advertisements for good old games back in the day, where it's like classic games, low prices, DRM free, and it's like they had to advertise that.
They're still excited to advertise that though.
Yeah. I guess you see it sometimes on the website, but it's like, like people really were like, oh yes, finally someone who listens to us.
And see now though, like that was over a decade ago. Now I feel like DRM, or at least maybe I'm just ignorant, but I feel like DRM isn't that big of a deal nowadays, or at least it's not that big of a talking point because gamers now are just used to being online, and I think a lot of online multiplayer games are helping that out, but most players are used to just being connected to the internet when it comes to playing games.
There was this one, it's kind of like DRM, but not really. But there's a Hitman 3. When it came out, it's completely single-player game. There's like, other than a leaderboard, there's almost no multiplayer components. No multiplayer components, I should say. But in order to play the game, you needed to make sure that you were signed into like this Hitman network, and you needed to be online for it. So in a way, it was like DRM, but through an account.
Sounds exactly like what it is.
Yeah, it is. It pretty much was. Since like I was watching Germa play it, it's like, what? Why is this on here? This is stupid.
And
Yeah.
I would say that most
It's like,
people...
yeah, it's a single player game. Why do you need that? Other than like, I think it should be if it's down, it's like, oh, you can't upload your high score. It's like, okay, whatever.
It's like games for Windows Live back in the day
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah, that was another rabbit hole that was connected to all this. I'll just have to send you
Games
guys
for
the
Windows
video.
Live, I heard, never worked.
Oh yeah,
it was
even
a
when it was like a
nightmare.
thing, it still doesn't work. Imagine so what sucks now though is there's games that are still tied to it that you really can't play very easily.
Fallout 3 for a while on Steam, they had it tied to game for Windows Live, and it says that they're not compatible with like Windows 7 or later. Finally, they updated it to get it to work, but like for a while, it was just on there.
When I was doing my Bulletstorm video, I wanted to play the original version of Bulletstorm on PC. That was tied to games with Windows Live, so I had to figure out how to essentially mod the game to bypass games for Windows
a lot
Live.
of people have found hot fixes and solutions to get rid of games for Windows, but it's
a nightmare.
Yeah, it's such a cursed mark.
And like it's
bunch
the
of
bad
games.
part about it is like nowadays you can't really even log in. And I tried to do that, like with Bulletstorm. I was just trying to log in normally to my Windows account, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, well, crap, I guess I got to bypass it somehow.
They've pretty much all but abandoned it. But this brings up the whole debate of not only DRM, but physical versus digital video games. And right now where we are with modern gaming, I feel like both are in volatile spots because, for example, and you can speak on this one, Cole, but like, what was the Pokemon game that came out where it was a day one patch, and if you didn't get that day one patch, essentially your game was worthless?
Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
So-
Wasn't Arceus also kind of like that?
No, not necessarily. It wasn't broken.
Yeah.
And like you could, if without a day one patch, you could beat Arceus, and it's got everything you would need to beat it. But I think it's because that was made by Game Freak, and this other one wasn't made by Game Freak, and they were at a much shorter time crunch than Game Freak was. Like, the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl game, without a day one patch, literally doesn't have a good title screen. It just has the Pokemon logo and, like, some bad font that says, like, the game or something like that. There's no intro cutscene either.
I gotta look this up.
There's... I don't remember how bad the title screen was, but it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. But you can tell it's not finished.
Yeah.
There wasn't an intro cutscene as well. All of the music wasn't like mastered right either. Like it sounded worse than the DS version of the music. Simple things like that. I don't know all the different things that it changed, but that's just some of the small things.
Yeah, and see, that's where the point comes in, though, because I've heard, and I personally prefer my games physical as opposed to digital to own. I would much rather play my games digital because it's just convenient, and sometimes I double buy for that purpose, which is probably dumb, but whatever. Anyway, the point is, or I guess the argument rather, is digital versus physical, but they both have issues, especially in the modern gaming market. For one, like Cole just brought up his example of Windows Live, where a service or a launcher provides ways for you to play your games. Well, what happens if that service, like Steam or Epic or Blizzard or Origin, goes down? You can now not play your games. Like, I don't know how many times I've booted up Epic Games and it just doesn't work. Like, the launcher is not working. Therefore, I cannot play any of the games that I had purchased on that launcher.
We'll take it a step further. Like, most of these sites won't go down, and so like people will think they're pretty much safe, right? Well, sometimes games get delisted.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get taken down and you can't purchase them anymore. You might be able to download them if you're lucky, you know? Like you might be able to be like, "Oh yeah, since you purchased this, you can still download it." If you're lucky. Some of those I feel like might go away eventually. And like the most recent example I can think of them just being taken down is when Sonic Origins came out, they delisted all of the other versions of Sonic the Hedgehog on Steam, for example.
Same with Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, when the Grand Theft Auto trilogy came out, they delisted all the other versions of Grand Theft Auto, like 3, San Andreas, and Vice City.
Yeah.
That sucks. That really sucks.
I mean, like, sure, they're trying to push you towards a better product.
Yeah, better.
Which is ironic because neither of those two examples were better in any way. But it's literally just to make more money that they're doing these things for.
Yeah, that sucks. They should somehow reimburse you if they're just going to take away a game you've already purchased.
And when I say delisted, you could still download these.
You just can't purchase them
You just
anymore?
can't purchase
So they're
them
still in
anymore.
your Steam library.
Yeah, they'll still be in your Steam library, but I'm sure somewhere down the line we're going to get to a point where they start taking them out of your Steam library, basically delisting them entirely.
If they do that, then they should, people that have already purchased the older games, they should just get the newer ones for free then if they're going to take away a game
And
from
some
you.
have done that, though.
And that's admirable of
for
the companies.
example, I think the Bioshock trilogy did that, I think. I don't think you
Oh,
could
yeah,
buy
they
the
took down
original
the
trilogy,
original, yeah.
but they gave you the
new one for
remastered if
free.
you already had the
And apparently
original.
people did not like that remaster on PC. From what I read, the reviews, it didn't run as good.
So, yeah.
Infinite was exactly the same. Like, you could buy Infinite. I think it's just they had exactly the same on PC because, like, on PC it was already, like, running way better than the console counterparts because, like, next gen was on its way. So they just kind of had the next gen tweakings for the PC version.
Yeah, so, I mean, this begs the question. I want to pose it to you guys. Just have a discussion about it of what media type do you guys prefer? And also, just with DRM, do you foresee a solution? Because the way I see it, both digital and physical obviously have pros and cons, but they both suffer from DRM issues and just having to be able to be connected to the internet. I feel like developers are relying so heavily upon patches now that they're not even shipping the games finished.
Yeah. I think that digital is more convenient, and eventually, from where I'm going, physical will just be phased out entirely, probably by the end of this decade.
I mean, I'm the same as Thane. Digital's 100% more convenient, but me dumb brain, me like dumb thing on dumb shelf, and so I like physical still.
The physical, something about physical copies are...
It's exciting.
Really
it's a lot more
cool.
fun
That's
to
why-
open up a case and be like, wow, there's my game.
I was really excited for Death Stranding. I was like, oh, I'm going to buy physical. It was an okay game. I like the box art. The box
Yeah.
art's cool.
And I don't even feel bad about buying digitally, like on Steam, for example, but I just don't even buy console games much at all anymore as is. The last couple console games I've purchased have been Pokemon. And the next console games I'm purchasing, I guess I've already purchased it, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Pokemon. And so, I just don't buy physical games much anymore.
Did you get the special
general.
edition for that?
Xenoblade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it, dude. I got
Nice.
lucky.
And you got your
Nice.
trilogy of steelbooks now.
Yeah, it's a shame the Xenoblade 1 steelbook doesn't really match the art theme of it. But hey, what can you do?
But hey, that's just a crackhead theory.
But yeah, honestly, if I didn't have this stupid, I must collect things, and if I didn't, so let's just say it like this. Say I didn't have the physical versions of the special editions for Xenoblade 1 and 2. Say I just had the physical versions. I wouldn't put it past myself to buy the digital version of 3. It really wouldn't be that much of a pull to buy the digital version of 3. And let's say I wasn't going for the I didn't have this complete collection of the main series Pokemon games. Buying the next games digitally wouldn't be that much of a thing. If I had say I was just missing a couple games and I didn't have any desire to get the entire Pokemon collection, I would be like, yeah, whatever, let's just get them digitally. So, let's just put it this way. Say I didn't have a computer and the new Call of Duty was coming out or something, and I wanted to buy it, I would have no qualms with buying it digitally. So the only reason I buy physically now is for specific collections at this point. I guess that's the best way to put it. Took a while to get there, but we got there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same way. I prefer to have it all digital just because it's convenient, like you guys are saying. But I do like having physical media. I also suffer from that collection aspect, but I just like knowing that I have it with me, you know what I mean? And this also brings up the other issue, though, is even if you buy a physical game, that doesn't mean it's going to work without being connected to the internet at some point in time to get patches.
Oh yeah, when you think about it like that,
Patches the hyena.
say you 10 years down the road want to play Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and the Nintendo Switch eShop or like just Wi-Fi services are down. You put it in, you don't got the patch for it. You just put it in and go like, well, looks like I got a crappy version of a game. Something more realistic that'll be happening within the next year is the Wii U, for example. All of those day one patches are going to be gone. And this is one example I can think of. It's not necessarily a day one patch, but Xenoblade Chronicles X, from what I understand, you want to download that game to your hard drive to play it. Even if you have the disc, you want to download it to the hard drive and then download like the digital version patch or whatever. You won't be able to do that after the eShop goes down next year and all of the internet services on the Wii U are gone. And so at that point, you essentially got an inferior version of Xenoblade Chronicles X because it won't run as smoothly as it could, and they've never ported it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe they will by then. Who knows? But that's just an example.
I hope that some people will they'll be able to have the patches you can just download from like a third party source.
Like
yeah,
saved
but then that's
online
so much
somewhere.
extra
Yeah,
work.
I know.
You've got to homebrew your thing. You've got to mod your thing so you can get this thing onto your
At
your
that,
hardware.
at that
probably
point,
will
you
have
just hope
that.
there's a ROM of it somewhere that you can just
People
play.
will probably still probably do that. It's like, hey, here's the probably just some people have specific games like, hey, I want to play Xenoblade X, we got it, and another person like, hey, we got these games too. Like, I'm pretty sure it'll be different groups for dedicated to that. But
and I'm sure there will be, but it's just a hassle to go through all that stuff if you just want to pop in your disc and play the game.
I think those days are far behind us.
I think they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone, and I don't see them ever coming back, which is sad. And this is like the whole the question I want to pose to you guys is, obviously I feel like the state of gaming right now is in a very precarious spot. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know. And I don't know what the solution is, so I just wanted to pose the question to you guys of what do you foresee as a solution other than having developers release games
That are
finished? Yeah.
That was going to be my solution.
Yeah, I think there needs to be like a
Just better quality quality control.
I think, yeah.
It just needs better quality control. It needs to be in a relatively finished state to the point that, you could put some more patches on there to make it a little bit better however you want to. But it's got to be finished enough where you've got a feasible game.
It can't be like Cyberpunk.
Yeah, you can't release a game like Cyberpunk at launch.
You got,
it's got to be able to be playable and not just a mess.
Exactly.
The best way to explain it is back in the day, honestly,
you printed
the
that game on a disc
PS2
or a cartridge. That was it. There was no patches.
Oh yeah, there was no patches. You're not going to get a patch for your N64 version of Ocarina. I mean, technically there was a patch, a reissued cartridge version of it, but the version 1.0 of Ocarina
costs
of Time
a lot
was
of money
playable.
to reissue
It's
versions
playable.
that work.
As long as it's playable, even despite the glitches, I think it's fine.
Some versions of Sonic Adventure 2 at one of the final levels is I think it was the final Eggman level. In early versions, Eggman would just fall through the stage every time.
That was here's another DRM thing, and I wanted to bring this up too because Cole knows a lot.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
it was
for
a
pirated
piracy.
copies.
Oh.
That was for pirated copies. So I guess bringing this back around to the DRM and just copyright control that all these developers and publishers, they jumped through so many hoops and went through very extensive lengths to prevent piracy because there's lots of pirates out there.
Yeah, one of my favorite piracy measures was Earthbound, where throughout the entire game, the screen would be just littered with enemy encounters, and almost every second you get hit with an enemy encounter, and then if you could survive all that through the game, you get hit with the final boss, who is made undefeatable. You can't defeat him.
I mean, I don't blame them. I really don't. And it definitely needs to be looked at because, especially with Nintendo Switch right now, piracy is rampant with the Nintendo Switch. A game gets leaked a couple weeks before launch, and literally anybody in the world can download and play it. You can download and play Xenoblade Chronicles 3 right now on a Nintendo Switch emulator. And that happened 2 weeks ago. It was leaked,
Jesus.
and people uploaded the ROM, the ISO or whatever it is, and instantly people could play it.
Yeah.
And because that game was in such a finished state, it doesn't really need a day one patch to be playable. If like it might have been, but I don't know. But if like the Pokemon, oh no, it totally was. Yeah, the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it was also leaked like 2 weeks before, but it was in a broken state, so people really couldn't play it, even though they were pirating it. But that doesn't stop them to pirate the future patches either. And like, it's a terrible problem right now with the Switch specifically.
Yeah,
pirating.
the only companies that seem to be doing like the full finished product out launch are like Japanese companies, like the ones that really want to push for that polish, that they seem to like have a ethics like get this game finished before we launch, no exceptions. Which a lot of
I mean, that's
which
not
a lot of
wrong.
Western developers should also have that mentality. Like, hey, if you guys don't get this finished, you're taking a pay cut. Like, do something drastic. It's like,
Well, the problem is we're not developers, and you don't
Yeah.
actually know the inside scoop of what's going on inside the studio.
well, Japan's doing something different.
They really are.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mean to go back to Pokemon again as an example, but it's a great example for this even. You have the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl that came out that was in a complete mess of a state when it first launched. The day one patch was absolutely needed. And then you have Pokemon Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus was made by Game Freak. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was made by Ilka, a Chinese developer. So I think Thane's onto something. Japanese studios seem to care, I guess, more
Yeah.
about their games when they're coming out and trying to make them release in a somewhat feasible state.
Which it should be.
It should be, yeah, I agree.
I've heard the other ideas thrown around, which I don't necessarily think this is the greatest of ideas, but what if there's some sort of quality control committee or something that is put into play where it's like, you cannot release a game in this state if it is broken because this committee says so, you know what I mean? Because you're essentially giving gamers your finished product, which is hot garbage and is unplayable, and that sucks for everybody. Well, like, you're lying to consumers now at this point by saying, here's our finished $60 game, and then you pick up Battlefield 2070 or 2042 and it doesn't even work. You know what I mean? People paid lots and lots of money for a broken game or piece of garbage.
So it's
Especially if
interesting.
it's like one of those special editions that
Yes.
like
For like $120.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when you compare that to Cyberpunk, for example, like at least Cyberpunk gave people the option to get a refund.
Yeah.
Battlefield didn't even do that. They just said, "Well, tough
EA's
titties, bro.
like-
You
EA's
got a
like-
bad game.
And-
Sorry.
yeah, and
Thanks for
then
the money."
DICE just abandons it. All
Yeah.
but abandons it at this point.
EA's like, oh, you want a refund? Do you know who we are?
It's
Buy a
it's
loot
pretty
box and you
sad.
might get your money back.
Yeah.
Buy a loot box and you might get the 1 in 500 chance of having a complete game. you hit the right loot box chance, you'll win in all your matches because you actually got the DLC patch from your loot box.
I want to see someone like EA, like you get like a special edition for like a certain amount, like $120, and all it's on the special edition is like
loot boxes.
100 loot boxes, 100 free loot boxes. It's like
Free at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess just to kind of bring this conversation back around is I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, the best answer is people don't pirate and developers release a full completed game. Because I'm with you, Cole. I totally understand, and I think it's developers have to do something and publishers to get their money. You know what I mean? If everybody pirates games, then developers aren't going to have any money to make more games. And I'm totally okay and actually like to support creators of things that I like. I'm totally fine giving them money. What I don't like is when they release garbage games or they promise one thing but don't do it. Or they make playing their game such a hassle that it's not even worth it at specific points.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the answer is. I guess if everyone was just a good, wholesome, righteous, trustworthy person, that would be a perfect answer for a perfect world. But I don't know. Right now, anyway, the gaming industry just, like I said, I think precarious is the best way to describe it. Yeah, a mess.
You know what we can trust? Indie developers. If you see a game and say, "Hey, that looks good," if it's bad, you don't have to spend much money. Well, they're getting up there in price, but usually, like, see something like Cuphead, and you're like, "Wow!" Then they usually advertise it. Usually they'll advertise it. This game's hard. It has an old art style. It has like an old timey art style, and it's like, "Wow, I'll buy that." And usually when they release it, they usually try to have it all wrapped up nicely.
I sort of touched on this when I was talking about Celeste in my Celeste review, but I don't really like indie games. I don't like the feeling of a game that just doesn't feel like it's fleshed out to what the creator wants it to be. And I feel like most indie games fall under that because they want to do all this stuff, but they can't because they're an indie developer.
Money.
They don't have the assets essentially to do it, so they settle with making like a smaller version of what they wanted to make. And I think that's why I tend to just go right towards AAA games because they feel like a more complete package in my own mind. And that's just me. I don't know. So it's hard to just be like, oh, just go play indie games then because they're complete. They work. I mean, I'm not saying they don't. They definitely do. But sometimes it just feels like that it doesn't feel like it's enough. Like I'm playing through Neon White right now, for example. That's an indie game. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's
an indie game. Okay,
it's indie.
It's great, awesome fun. Does not feel like it's a completely finished full AAA game. You can tell it's an indie game. You can tell it's by a relatively small team of people, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just don't prefer that. I prefer the AAA experience, and AAA experience is going to hell. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will, and I guess it's not really because I don't disagree with you. I mean, I've played. And I think my relationship with indie games has definitely changed over the years. But I played some real dumpers, some real absolute trash cans. But then you play some indie gems, and you're like, wow. And that's, I think the problem is it's just very inconsistent. Maybe that's what, where your experience comes from. But as far as like, yeah, I mean, there are some really polished, really good indie games that almost do feel like AAA titles. And some of them are really big. Like and these are some that I've never played, but I just know they're really popular. Like Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight, and Minecraft was an indie game at one point. Undertale is humongously popular.
yeah, but all of those games still don't feel like they're a full-fledged game. Like the closest thing to that I would say is
Hollow Knight's
Minecraft.
like 30 hours.
Yeah, I would say that that's a very subjective thing at that point.
Yeah, but I guess the amount of hours you put into a game in my mind doesn't make it fully fleshed out. It's still pretty minimal. There's not a lot you do in it.
I had a feeling about this. I'm doing a God of War video, and when I play God of War 3, it's like, wow, like, I mean, I like God of War 3, but like at the opening, it's like, wow, it feels like they just threw a shit ton of money at this.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They just like, there's explosions, and there's like, you're on Gaia climbing it. It's like this huge epic set piece. It's like, wow, this is like the most blockbuster game I've ever played.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, though. I think that's what I guess
And
what I'm trying to get is like the
sometimes
blockbuster feel.
I don't want that. Sometimes I want smaller, smaller
and
scale.
I'm not saying everybody has to think the way I do. I'm just thinking like the amount of hours doesn't equate to the feel of the production, I guess. And while people, and I've never played these games like Hollow Knight or Ori and the Blind Forest or Undertale. I guess I played a bit of Undertale. People love these games.
Ori's has a bit more budget behind it, I think. Yeah.
I guess that's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying. Like people
some
love
indie
these
games do have a lot of budget behind them, though. Sometimes they do get good funding.
Yeah.
But they have full.
People
the reason it's an indie is
people love these
full
games, and
creative
people will
control.
say that there's some of like the greatest games ever made and some of the top tier of gaming. And I love Minecraft. I would say it's one of the top tiers of gaming, but either they have years and years and years of development time, like Minecraft, for example, and at this point, Minecraft's not even an indie game; it's a AAA game at this point. Let's be honest.
It's its own beast.
And or they put a lot of like a sizable amount of time into a specific thing that they want to make that specific thing as good as it can possibly be. I think probably like Hollow Knight, because from what I understand, people point to Hollow Knight when they talk about gameplay. I think is probably what mostly people talk about with Hollow Knight is the gameplay, correct?
Oh yeah.
Like
That's like the highlight.
Like the way it feels.
Yeah.
But that's all. It's like I don't know enough about Hollow Knight to really say this, but from what I understand, you're just fighting enemies and going through areas like a Metroidvania.
It's a Metroidvania. Yeah, it's a Metroidvania.
And that doesn't really appeal to me personally because it doesn't like. I mean, what do you do? Just explore the flat rooms? It's mostly because it's a 2D. I think that I don't really like the idea of it.
Yeah, there's
but
a lot of platforming.
It's just 30 hours of
not
the
a
same
platforming
thing,
guy.
in my opinion. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't reach out to me. And most
He's-
indie games are that. They're
he's
that
like the
2D,
opposite-
There's not a lot going on.
He's like the opposite of Scott the Woz, where Scott the Woz is not an RPG guy. Cole's not a platformer guy.
Yeah.
And I totally see where you're coming from, Cole. I think anyone that plays a AAA title as opposed to an indie game can feel a difference in the way it plays and presentation.
I had one more thing I just realized. So like, I may not be a platformer guy, but I would much rather play Super Mario Odyssey than Celeste any day of the week. I liked Celeste, and I probably enjoyed my time playing Celeste more than Mario Odyssey. But Mario Odyssey feels like a better game. Just playing it feels better than playing Celeste.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because it's a AAA game by a AAA studio.
I mean, when you have more money, you have more
time
to experiment.
That's what I'm saying.
And
that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. I
Yeah.
think that's the best example I'm able to actually say, though, this time. Is
it's funny because
it just feels better.
It's funny because Nintendo's kind of like the only company that like still does those kind of experimental
Yeah, sure.
AAA games. No other company's really doing that.
Yeah, and like that's the only example I can think of. I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I could probably think of others, like maybe like a Breath of the Wild clone. I'm sure there's plenty of those out there that are more indie that I could point to. But
Yeah.
I guess here we go. I don't know how much of an indie developer, quote unquote indie developer they are, and that's why I'm prefacing this before I actually say the name of the game, because I know everyone's gonna like shoot me down for this. And I don't think they're an indie developer. It definitely feels more AAA, but it also feels indie, like a bit on the indie side. But I would say Genshin Impact feels more on the indie side than a AAA game. Granted, the budget and the money they bring in is far more than AAA games are.
I don't think they're a AAA.
I don't think that they're
studio.
a AAA studio developer either. And that game feels that way. It doesn't
Actually, wait.
feel like that AAA.
No. I think they are. Like, I don't think they really were during Genshin Impact's development, but like
Now so they are, for sure.
Because they're coming out with 2 more games.
Because of the success of Genshin, I think they've become that. But Genshin
And you can
as the
definitely
base
feel it when
thing,
you go play Honkai Impact. It's so janky.
the Genshin Impact, what I played at launch compared to Breath of the Wild, it feels like an indie game compared to the AAA Breath of the Wild. And while Genshin was fun for the couple hours that I played, I would much rather go to Breath of the Wild because it's a much more complete feeling, and it's probably because so much more money was put into that game at the start, as well as the amount of people working on it were that much more.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think that if you take a AAA title and an indie title of the same genre and put them head to head, you're going to feel a big difference between them both, just for, I think, reasons you've already mentioned.
And it's not to say that they're bad. I just definitely prefer the AAA feeling. It just feels better. I would pick a AAA game over an indie game any day of the week, even if it's like the best game in the world. I don't know. Like, I've yet to find an indie game that I feel like is more fun than a AAA game equivalent of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just need to play more video games. There are indie games, like some of my favorite games of all time are indie games. Like Undertale's on there.
That game,
Minecraft's
Stray,
on there.
I think, was independently developed.
Yeah.
It's published by Annapurna Interactive, and those like guys publish like indie
But
games.
what I think is cool too, though, is I feel like, well, it's kind of sad and cool at the same time, but I feel like indies and AAAs are, the gap between them isn't as big as it probably used to be. But I mean, like you already mentioned, AAA titles are the AAA gaming industry is kind of going to poop right now.
Yeah. What's funny is that you could make a rough argument that Game Freak is an indie developer, even though they make a game from the biggest franchise in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Their studio size and the production that they make would technically be considered an indie with Nintendo as the publisher. But those games don't always feel indie. Sometimes they do, but especially like the earlier games. I'd much rather play the newer Pokemon games than the early ones because of that indie feeling for sure. The bigger they get, the less indie they feel, I guess.
And I think it's cool to have both. I'm sure there's lots of gamers that prefer the indie feeling as opposed to a AAA.
Sure,
and
yeah.
Like a lot of people probably agree with you.
I'm not trying to say that indie's bad at all.
Yeah,
by
yeah,
any means.
yeah.
And they definitely have the better work sense.
It gets the foot it helps get their foot into the door
Yeah.
for bigger projects.
And they have the better work sense nowadays when it comes to the AAA developers, kind of going back to what we were talking about, how a lot of the AAA games nowadays just aren't as good as they used to be. And, I mean, it's weird that they're not as good, but they still have that same good AAA feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but...
And maybe it's because we as gamers have played so many games that the bar, the standard, the just the gaming standard, I guess, has either increased in our heads or I don't know what it is, but like
I think probably to remedy that is like set our expectations to the floor every time.
But I shouldn't have to.
yeah, I agree.
know,
If
I
I'm
know.
spending money, then I shouldn't have to.
I know you shouldn't, but like
I'm not going to.
you don't
If
have
I'm going
to
to spend money
but,
on
like,
something, I'm not going to put my expectations low. That's just how it is nowadays. I don't buy a lot of games, and when I do, I hope I get my money's worth out of them. I don't. I'm very disappointed with the game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I see where you're trying to go with the thing, but like, I mean, I'm all for giving developers the benefit of the doubt and what have you. But at what point are we just gonna like say enough is enough? Like, how dumb are we gonna be before we say, okay, this isn't? I don't want this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I'm sure the COOF had a lot to do with some of the garbage that's been released recently. But we've had garbage even before the COOF. Like, with Halo, one of my favorite franchises of all time, when the Master Chief Collections came out, it was a freaking poop. It was a duker. A hot dumpster fire of a video game.
When it worked, and the sad thing was, those were already multiplayer modes that have proven to work in previous games. And when they released them there, it's like, why aren't you working?
See, and this is just where I draw the line, I guess, for myself, or rather what I prefer, is if something is in an unfinished state, tell everybody. Say, we're going to
ask for your money back.
We're going to release this.
Yeah,
but
release it like as a
just-
beta.
Yeah,
essentially,
yeah,
like
or
early
like the
access.
test flight things that they're doing now.
Yeah.
But be open and apparent with your audience because these are the fans, you know? I don't want to get slapped in the face by a company or
Especially
developers
if you
that
have
I...
investors in your money. Like CD Projekt Red had investors, and investors weren't happy when it released in that state.
Well, they were probably also pushing for it too because
Yeah,
they wanted their money
exactly.
back.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a catch-22.
And that's the whole
Yeah.
to bring this whole conversation back around is I don't know what the solution is because you've got too many hands in the pot demanding too many things and it's just a hot mess. I don't know what the solution to DRM is. I don't think DRM is it. But I don't know what an alternative is. People be good humans, I guess.
Good luck
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, good effing luck.
Well, that's our show for today. We probably better get going before our camera decides to commit not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Looks like it has the overheating thingy. It's been there for a while.
Yeah.
But thank you guys
Shoot, pour water on it.
for listening and watching this episode of the Talking Rad podcast. We hope you guys have enjoyed our little discussion / rants on the world, including our necks and
Our
at one
backs.
point our private areas. We talked about Pokemon too. We had some cards. It was a good show. If you guys enjoyed, tell us what you liked about it. Tell us what you'd like us to talk about maybe in the future. And tell us what you guys think about the current state of the AAA gaming industry. Or anything else, I guess. I mean, it's up to you. The
Yeah,
comment
what's-
section's open.
What's your shaving routine?
Do you guys put shaving cream on? Or do you thin it up and just use an electric razor with nothing? No water even?
Or maybe you just don't shave and you grow your beard out like Jesus or Gandalf.
Yeah, who's to say? We'd like to know. Let us know. Thank you guys again for listening and watching. If you're on Spotify, we appreciate you guys. On the Apple Podcasts as well. Give us a 5-star rating if you liked what you see. Tell a friend about us. We love you all. And as always,
Keep it red.